This is Tom Hutchinson's screencast-o-matic presentation for dismissal for cause. Today I want to talk about some background information behind dismissal for cause, some of the various grounds for dismissal that are out there, and some cases where dismissals have made the news. First of all, I want to provide some background information. Most states protect teachers in public schools from arbitrary dismissal with tenure statutes. Once a teacher has attained tenure, their contract is automatically renewed each school year. The only way that a school district can dismiss tenured teaching staff is by a showing of cause. In cases such as this, the burden of proof rests with the Board of Education to show cause with an abundance of evidence. Now I want to talk about some of the various grounds for dismissal: incompetency, insubordination, neglect of duty, immorality, conduct involving morality, and sexual advances towards students. Incompetency is one of the most frequently used grounds for dismissal. Incompetency refers to, quote, inefficiency, lack of skill, inadequate knowledge of subject matter, inability or unwillingness to teach curriculum, and failure to work effectively with colleagues and parents. When challenging a teacher's incompetency, the burden of proof is with the school board. Prior to bringing about charges of incompetency, substantial documentation of teacher evaluation and performance is necessary. Insubordination: intentionally or inability to follow reasonable orders from administration. Usually this results from a pattern of behavior and not one specific incident. However, depending on the seriousness of the violation, one incident could result in grounds for dismissal due to insubordination. To succeed in cases involving insubordination, there must be evidence of the misconduct and that the directive from the administration was reasonable. Neglect of duty: when a teacher fails to perform assigned or contracted duties. This could be intentional or unintentional. One court explained neglect of duty as, quote, failure to carry out professional obligations and responsibilities in connection with classroom or other school-sponsored activities. Immorality: conduct which is deemed to be in violation of the ethics in a certain community. Some states believe this refers to behavior that sets a poor example for the students and violates moral integrity. Another court ruled that not only does the conduct need to be immoral, but also impact one's ability to teach. Conduct involving morality: public school employees are among the most visible in the community and contain a significant amount of influence on their students. Because of this, there is an expectation for the teacher's character and personal behavior to be better than the average citizen. A ruling from the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania back in 1939 defined immorality as, quote, a course of conduct which offends the morals of the community and is a bad example to the youth whose ideals a teacher is supposed to foster and evaluate. Sexual advances toward students: in prior rulings, courts have left very little doubt regarding how they will deal with teachers involved in cases of improper sexual conduct toward students. The courts see teaching as, quote, an exemplary profession, end quote, and teachers should demonstrate excellent behavior in their interactions with students. With the position of the courts and provisions in state laws, it comes as no surprise that the courts generally side with the school district, as long as the district produces evidence that the teacher has participated in unlawful sexual involvement with students. Now I want to talk about three cases where grounds for dismissal has made the news. The first case I want to talk about was from a headline of an article titled "Manatee Teacher Loses Tenure in Facebook Case." A high school teacher in Manatee, Florida lost his tenure after it was determined he had used inappropriate language on a Facebook page his students had access to. He was also friends with over 120 students. Later on, after realizing the page was public, he changed the settings to private. An administrative law judge determined it was not severe enough for termination, but his actions were inappropriate. Thus, the school board voted that he would lose his tenure in the school district that he had taught in since 1998. The next case I want to talk about was from an article titled Ex-Teacher in Alleged Sexting Case Charged. A high school Spanish teacher in Council Bluffs, Iowa was accused of sending explicit text messages to a current student and offered to raise the student's grade for the pictures. Once the allegations were brought forth, the teacher chose to resign. Now the teacher has been charged with sexual exploitation by a school employee and lascivious conduct with a minor. The last article I want to talk about was from the Tampa Bay Tribune online, and it was titled, "A Judge, Pinellas Teacher Should Be Fired for Incompetence." A state hearing administrative judge is recommending a Pinellas middle school teacher be fired for incompetence and insubordination. The Pinellas School District was able to prove that the teacher failed to prepare adequate lesson plans or teach the assigned subject matter. This teacher also did not improve despite the repeated efforts by school administrators to help him. Today's presentation is focused on three things. We talked about background information, about grounds for dismissal. Then I talked about the various areas of grounds for dismissal that are currently being used today, the most common ones. And lastly, I found 3 articles that are in the news regarding these topics. This is my bibliography page. This is where all the information throughout the PowerPoint came from. Now this is a bibliography page for the images that you saw throughout the presentation. Thank you.